Welcome to Draw Tip Tuesday. Here's your weekly dose of inspiration to build a creative habit. One drawing at a time. Brought to you by Sketchbook Skool. Hi! Here's a question I get a lot. How do you do skin tones when you're drawing? Well, skin tone is just not one color. Everybody's skin has a different tone and color and complexion. So I don't really have an answer to that question, but I can show you how I approach drawing skin using colored pencils. But first, let's also take a look at how other artists approach this. I have a selection of books here from artists who draw people often and whose work I admire. Here's one of Felix Scheinberger's books. His work makes me wonder, do we need skin tone at all? Just a tad bit of watercolor and a few pencil lines might be enough. And here, bright pink on the cheeks, it's not the real color of skin, but it works so well. Look here, purple, red, blue, all these colors add up to skin tone. It's not photorealistic skin tone, but therefore maybe much more interesting. I love this too. People aren't pink, but using pink, like kids do, actually works really well. And he mixes again with purple and blue. I think it's also really important to leave a lot of blank paper space and also be bold and exaggerate. Look, just a bit of mark making is all you need to create the sense of a face and some color on it. I think when we look at Felix Scheinberger's style, it is really a matter of being bold, daring to combine bright red with a simple beige, for example. Miguel Herranz is another one of my favorites. Again, here's proof that you actually don't need to color the face at all. This is done on gray toned paper and that gives you a mid-tone. Keeping it flat like this puts more emphasis on the important parts of the drawing. Or what about using a limited palette? You just need a few hatching lines to indicate shadows and create volume. So who needs skin tone anyway? And here's another example that you don't really need the skin tone at all. The emphasis is on the other colors and the shapes, and it's not even important what color the skin is. This is a book by Inma Serrano. She is amazing with color and she uses colored pencils a lot to combine with other media. Let's look at this. Brown colored pencil, ochre, yellow, orange, pink, brown and ochre again. And what is really important here is that she is actually using colors that are in the rest of the drawing. So instead of using the right skin color, Inma is using the palette of colors that she's already using in the rest of the drawing. This gives the drawing kind of a unity. Here, this is a bit like Felix does, just a few strokes of color. And the bright pink here shows that it must have been a very hot day. These people may have a bit of a sunburn or they are flustered by the warm weather. How about gray, blue, beige for skin color? It's almost a little muddy here, but it makes sense as these people are in the shadow and in the background. And then the little round pink cheek that is added gives a lot of life to it. And just like with Felix, colored pencils can give you the association of them being a kid's tool. Well, use that. Here, Inma uses a red pencil to color the man's face. And doesn't it make total sense even though it's not photorealistic? Lynn Chapman draws people very often and she made a book about it. Here's proof that there is no real answer to the question how to create skin color. Look at the green and the purple and the blue that is combined in these faces. Here's a green face, but doesn't it make total sense because the tones are right? Lynn often uses water-soluble Inktense pencils. Look here, green, red. This is even more extreme. Blue, purple, green. Just a few colors, very strong. And again, just like with Felix Scheinberger's style and in my style, be bold. And Lynn has this whole thing about skin color actually in her book. Green shadows prevent the skin from appearing too pink, for example. She uses tan to add a warm tone, red for a bit of a blush. Stubble can appear blue, which is a great insight and so true. Well, I won't give away all her secrets, just buy the book, even if it was just for this one single page. But then I also realized that when people ask about skin color, they want to know how to represent the color the way it looks in real life. Tommy Kane often combines pen, watercolor and colored pencils. There's a lot of red involved here. And that's the thing, some people have a more red complexion, others are more pale, the next person has a brown skin, and what about the shine and reflections you can sometimes see on skin? Wow, look at this! And this girl has more of a pale complexion, so Tommy has used delicate strokes of soft pink, orange, yellow, blue, grey, all colored pencils on top of watercolor. There is not one single formula, that's clear. Check out all these faces. For every face, there's a completely different approach. And probably this is what people are asking about. How to do skin tone in a realistic way like here. And I'll show you how I use my colored pencils to build up skin tone for a portrait. I found this photo on my phone and I will use it for reference for my drawing. I picked up this terracotta color, which will be my starting point. This light pink could be helpful, and maybe this pale pink, I'm not sure yet. A yellow, a red. This pink might be too bright, but you never know. There will probably be orange involved and some lilac or violet and blue also for some cooler shades in contrast. I'll start with a quick outline, but when I am drawing skin tone, I am trying to look at light and shadow rather than colors and shape. I can see so many colors here in that cheek. It's kind of pink, but it's not just pink. I actually see sort of an underlying yellow. And here is a white reflection, so I leave that white. So let's focus on this cheek area. I draw with a very soft and light touch, so I can add lots of layers to bring a sense of depth and volume to the drawing. I actually see a bit of violet in here too. This takes time, but it's important to find the shadows. They define the shape of the face. And if this would be someone else's face, the colors would be completely different. And if this photo would be taken in different lighting, the colors would be different as well. Just looking at the shadows, the longer you look, the more shades and colors you will see. Try to not think in terms of only yellow, brownish, beige and pink, but also think about opposite colors and how they are represented in darker parts. In the shaded area, you'll see cooler colors and you just keep adding layer upon layer, and those will build up to the color you want to represent. Make sure to leave a lot of white, because the more layers you add, the more the colors will come together and fill up the white space, and you don't want to lose your highlights. And it's really up to you. Are you trying to represent the reality, or do you want to have your own interpretation of things? This is just one way of doing things, but think about how Lynn chooses bright, unlogical colors to create a skin tone that makes total sense. Or if you don't have time to layer your color, like with this technique, channel Inma or Felix and pick up bright colors to make some quick marks. The technique I am showing you will take time and it will take patience. But you will get a real nice, rich combination of colors. And if you want the texture to have an even smoother look, try using a blending stick. It blends the colors together and creates a softer texture. Something you might want to try as well. Well, I could go on forever because once you start this, it's kind of addicting and meditative, but I think this will do. So find a photo of your face or someone else's face, just a portrait. Make sure that the lighting is good in the photo, so you have a clear understanding of where the shadows are and where the light source is and where the highlights are, because that will make things a lot easier to create depth and volume. And then look at an area or the whole face to really see what colors are actually in there. So maybe at first it looks like it's just a pink or a beige or a brown, but when you keep looking, you actually see that that one color is built by many colors. And then pick your colors from your color pencil kit and start layering those colors until you have the desired effect. So you build up to that one whole color. You can use a blending stick as well if you like to smoothen things out. And if you don't have time or patience to use the technique that I just showed you, that is fine. Just try something else. Pick one pencil, one bright color, and make marks, or you know, use just that one little circle for a cheek, and maybe that's all you need for your portrait. So you can be bold, you can take your time, as long as you have fun. And I cannot wait to see what you make, so please post your art on social media using the hashtag DTTinaction. And I'll see you next week. Have fun!